Well, this is a Doom clip, so obviously it's from the perspective of Doom.
I've got people writing into me already. Toe Hendry has risen. Rekieta is still seething like a bitch. That was not my intent today. I mean, not like it's the easy, not like it's the most difficult thing in the world, but it started out with somebody super chatting us today and asking me about like what's up with his latest lies, and we had to bust his payroll lie. He's like, "Oh yeah, he owes her so much money because she was getting notifications that they were trying to pay her and there were overdrafts or whatever." I'm like, no. First of all, if there were those, she wouldn't get those. Second of all, if you did get any information like that, you would have gotten it from my email, as she was not on the account. But he said, oh, yeah, he'd pay her after and it wouldn't go through. And there's no sensitive information on here. Here's the not on payroll ex-employees list over on QuickBooks. Just let me make sure and take a look. Oh, yeah, look at that. Last paycheck, April 1st, 2024. Processed it. Oh, isn't that weird? So I had to bust that lie today. And then there was another lie. He said he was seething about my divorce attorney being better than him. And he was seething about my divorce attorney doing a good job, which when the person who was giving legal advice to the other person is seething about how mad they are about the other attorney a year later, you know you cooked his ass good. Nick said, "No, I wasn't her attorney. No, he's lying." I don't know. I looked through my texts with April, and all of her texts are, "We think you should do this. Nick said you should do this." I mean, I don't know. Maybe you were supposed to tell her not to mention your name. She didn't get the memo, buddy. I'm sorry. And by the way, my attorney knew that you guys were working together. Like, it didn't take a genius to figure it out. She fucking told him that you guys were. So we had to bust that one up. And while I'm busting up that lie, and while he's going insane over it, we were like, well, Nick, there's no way you would know about anything QuickBooks or paycheck related unless you had access to my accounts. And he backtracked off of that real fast. No, just she had a thing on her phone, and she didn't have a thing on her phone. I'm sorry. She did. Any business will tell you that they don't put a thing on their employee's phone. There was no thing. You got caught and you had to backtrack. So then he's still fighting against that. And so I said, well, if you must know, now this was a while ago. I said that I went to the police. I reported the access to my accounts. This was December, November, something like that. And I said this a while ago. It must not have made the rounds. People didn't clip it, whatever. But I said a while ago, they update you when it gets sent somewhere. And when I went to Stearns County, they told me we've sent this to another county, and we sent it to the Minnesota Department of the FBI, the Minnesota office of the FBI. And those are the people who have it, because there's a lot of work they need to do. There's, from what they said, they go, this motherfucker sent this shit out to so many people that, our county can't handle that shit. So I said that a while ago, and that's nothing I can't say. That's not something they don't give me enough information for me to jeopardize anything. So they've had it. They've been looking into it. They've been looking into a bunch of different people. Some of them, I don't even know these people. But I mentioned that today, and people went, oh my God, that's crazy. No way. And I'm like, well, I said a while ago that was all I knew. That was it. So that's still going on. And then that starts making the rounds. People start talking about it. And then I get some DMs from Illicit Clips. And Illicit Clips, God bless her, she always asks for permission. She's like, hey, I'd like to put this out there. I'd like to confirm what you're saying. I have evidence of my own. I'd like to put it out there. Is that okay with you? She didn't have to ask. And I said, sure, absolutely. So Illicit Clips sends me a couple comments from her video she posted today about the FBI thing. And this person said, I will never stop. I would show this, but it's on my DMs. I don't want to expose other people in my DMs. Stabby McStabwood. There, I'll read the name that I can't make up. Commented, I will never stop laughing if Nick gets charged and convicted for this. Someone else wrote, NR is commenting on the Stalin 19 clip channel. He's so desperate. To which Alyssa then said, he can't comment on this topic here. Not that he really comments here anyway, because he knows it's his own fault, that I can say with 100% confidence he had some level of access to Aaron's email. She then posted that on her comment section. Kiwi Farms and Twitter start going crazy over it. Then she posts on Kiwi Farms later that day as they're asking for clarification. Nick sent me a DM seething about an email I'd sent a couple of days earlier to Aaron for his attorney. He absolutely had access. Also, Nick had tweeted things out that my lawyer and I had emailed about. He had referenced things that me and other attorneys had been talking about. So he was definitely in there doing that. And then she actually posted the receipt of the screenshot, or the receipt of the DM that Nick sent her. So on November 3rd, Alyssa had some screenshots that I wanted for what I was putting together. And she sent me those screenshots. So in November, I went to the police with the whole accessing my emails and files and backing it up and all of that. By the way, thank you to Patrick Melton, who said, oh, yeah, Nick sent me a whole drive and it was full of all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. We were able to get that. And we were able to make that a big part of our evidence package. So I appreciate him doing that, letting us know that that existed. So then Alyssa Clips screenshots my email from November 3rd, where we were exchanging screenshots and I needed some things from her. So then Nick is in my email. So he sees that stuff. He sees the emails that are being sent. And 4 days later sends Alyssa a DM and says, oh, Alyssa, so butthurt you sent our DMs to Aaron to hurt me. Why don't you send him your nudes like you did guys in my Discord? Make sure you take his money. Now, Alyssa never sent nudes in his Discord. She was busting someone else for that. He's so fucking wet-brained that he can't tell the difference. And look, we should be used to the guy lying to try to protect himself at this point. So Alyssa posts screenshots of that online, and that all went nuts today. So I would argue that I'm not even the one that made this stuff pop off today. I mentioned something. Well, naturally, it started with Nick running his big, stupid mouth about all the L's he's been posting. Also lied about either he lied or April lied about the SA stuff. Because he goes, oh, no, she never had anything but nice things to say about Adrian. That's a lie. She either lied to you or you're lying now, because that cease and desist says differently. Once she started accusing him on the air of certain things, that cease and desist thing came down. There was, she didn't pipe down. A lawsuit was coming. And by the way, after talking to him privately and apologizing to him, that turned out not to be true. So either she told him two other people that are not friends of mine, and she's making up accusations against those people, or he's lying now. And honestly, when you've got, she's accused so many people of that if she's adding two more to the list, that's not a good look. But I would probably lean more towards Nick's lying. Name names then, pussy. If you're not lying, which I assume you are, fucking name some names, you bitch. So Alyssa puts that out there, and people start losing their fucking mind about that. So honestly, if the guy would have kept his mouth shut, gotten offline, and just handled his fucking crumbling life that seems to be never-ending crumbles, and not obsess over me and missing my penis, none of this would have come out. None of this stuff would have come out. So congratulations. Let's take it out. Another cell phone for the former lawyer. How about his last work as an attorney was getting his ass kicked by my divorce attorney? Bravo. Well, then again, mine wasn't hampered by drug and alcohol addiction. So it's, again, it wouldn't have been nothing if he would have just kept, like everything else, wouldn't have been nothing if he'd have just kept his fucking sobbing mouth shut. But now Alyssa's posting the receipts. We just had to show the receipts that he's lying about the pay and the termination stuff. Still white knighting for the person who left him because he ran out of drugs for him. She was probably tired of getting yelled at about how she's freeloading and getting blamed for him missing tests. She was probably tired of the verbal abuse that he was giving her as she calls Keanu and cries about what a liar he is. Probably got tired of Nick verbally punished her so badly that it made Keanu turn and like me again. That's pretty rough. So we have Blukey. Do you think Melton would be hot if he was trans? No. So yeah, it's look, I'm guessing it must be rough there. I'm guessing it must be tough times. Makes me feel bad because look, all my stuff is wrapping up. It's 48 hours away. It's kind of weird. I was talking to SP about this and she's like, I'm going to be so glad when this is all over. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And then Scott and I got an email, a nice email about, getting back to work with the boxing and all that. So that's about done. We got about 48 hours to go and then we're done with all the legal stuff, or at least we'll have the parameters of what that is. I just got a really funny super chat and we'll get to it in a second. With the 48 hours I have left on that, we pretty much have the framework of everything set. But I'll say that there's a scent of blood in the water. So it depends on how far we want to push this thing. And I'll tell you, like, there's a complete win at the end of this tunnel. And I don't know how hard I want to push for it or if I just want to be done and call it. I'm telling you right now, if you want a little peek behind the scenes, I'm a man who's very conflicted. There's a part of this where I'm kind of like, how greedy do I want to get? And we'll talk more about it hopefully on Friday.